You're tuned to The Leading Edge with Saint, the pulse of cricket podcast. I'm Saint. Every week we bring you the stories, insights, and moments that drive this beautiful game. So hit the subscribe button and let's get straight into it. Welcome to The Leading Edge with Saint at Ronnie Podcast Studio. It's a new year. Welcome back. Yeah, and it's summer in South Africa, so that means one thing, a lot has been happening in terms of cricket from the last time we actually had a show. A lot has been happening. Proteas team got announced. What else happened? We also had the Kaya Majolo week, the SA Girls Under 19 week, the Under 16 weeks for both boys and girls. And yeah, and right now the Under 19 boys are preparing for the World Cup. We'll briefly get into that and say my 2 cents on that. And right now, the girls are also playing against Zimbabwe, the Under 19 week. But where do we start? We're not going to start with SA20. We'll end with that. But what we're going to start with, another T20 competition. Yep, a T20 competition that's currently being played on the other side of the continent. You know, the Indian Ocean, like literally on the other side in the subcontinent. Yes, Nadine de Klerk. She was just bringing fireworks. First match, Mumbai Indians. Yes, not the MI this time around. Mumbai Indians. Mumbai Indians were going against RCB. Nadine, last season, played for Mumbai Indians. I think she was a replacement player for Heather Knight or something along those lines. But it is what it is. Nadine came in this time around. She was actually bought by RCB back because 2 seasons before that, she actually played for RCB. So after the year that she had, she did things at the World Cup. So RCB brought her back into the side and she played on that first match. And as for MI, which is Mumbai Indians, they also have a South African their team. Funny enough, last season, they had 3 South Africans in the team. So it was Shabnim Ismail, who's still there. We'll speak about her now. And then there was Chloe Tryon, who was with them since the inception of WPL, if I'm mistaken. And then Nadine. But now Nadine was brought back by RCB, or bought back, drafted back, whichever way you want to say it, auction. And then Shabnim obviously stayed. She's opening the bowling for MI. So now, first match, obviously, Nadine didn't open the bowling. It was Lauren Bell. Lauren Bell did well for RCB. They put Mumbai Indians on lock. And funny enough, Amelia Kerr, she struggled. She struggled to get going in that match. And when she finally wanted to get going, she hit the ball in the sky and she was caught on the offside. It is what it is. It wasn't like some great innings or anything like that. But what was interesting, it was actually a battle between Nadine de Klerk and Sciver-Brunt, English captain Sciver-Brunt. So now Nadine got the wicket of Sciver. Nadine got the wicket of Harmanpreet Kaur as well, and 2 other wickets. So she finished with 4 wickets, I think 4 wickets for 26 in her 4 overs. Great. But you would think that's enough for Nadine. Oh no, that wasn't enough. Now it came to the batting. RCB started well, honestly. First wicket partnership was like 40 runs between Smriti and Grace Harris. So they started well. But Smriti got out. And at that point in time, RCB actually got back to the game. They quickly, I think they got like 5 wickets after that for like 25 runs or something like that. So now RCB had their backs on the wall. But it didn't matter. Nadine came in there. She had a good partnership for the sixth wicket. She had a good partnership for the sixth wicket. I think that partnership was like 52 runs. But again, but Nadine's, what do you call that whole notion of when someone, you know, her story didn't actually start even back then in that partnership, because that partnership was like 52 from 51 balls. Her story came in that last over. In the last over, RCB needed 18 runs, 6 balls. First 2 balls were dot balls. And guess who's bowling this? Sciver-Brunt. They're going against each other again. Now, bear in mind, Sciver was dismissed by Nadine. She was stumped by Richard Gosh. And then the next thing, Orlando is Sciver bowls a third ball, third delivery, goes for a 6. The next ball goes for a 4. The next ball goes for a 6. And Sciver is actually bowling these slow ball bouncer. And one of those slow ball bouncers in those first 2 balls did actually get Nadine. But you know what she did? She adjusted. She literally adjusted to that. And she hit her for a 6, especially on that 5th ball. It was a pull shot. And then now, Lando is already causes Mumbai Indians. We're taking their time bowling the last ball. Now, at this point in time, RCB just needs what? 2 runs to win, 1 run for super over. That's easy, right? And it was easy because you know what? Nadine did hit a 4. So in those last 4 balls, she actually hit 20 runs on Sciver. Literally on Sciver. That's like one of the best all-rounders in the world. Which made me literally like kind of go back, and I'm thinking, in South Africa, we have the SA20, and it's for men, and it's been good. I'm not going to lie, it's been entertaining. But Nadine again proved we are ready for women's SA20. Because what she did was drama. She did something that Jos Buttler couldn't do not so long ago. Jos Buttler for Durban Super Giants against Pretoria Capitals did so well. Last over, they needed 18 runs. On the other hand, Jos Buttler was batting with Kwena Mapak. So clearly Kwena is not going to bat, yeah? But Jos Buttler then was going against Roston Chase. Roston Chase versus Jos Buttler, you would say Jos Buttler would win that, right? But that didn't happen. Roston Chase was able to defend the 18 runs. I think he only considered 2 runs. There was a run out, everything. Jos Buttler just could not. And guess what Nadine could do when 18 balls were left? She got the team over. And the WPL started on a good note, entertainment galore in that match. And thanks to a South African, Nadine de Klerk. So my point, what I'm trying to say to Grant Smith and your team and CSA, please, man, it's time. Let's get this SA20 for women rolling. Another thing that has been happening again in women's cricket, ICC released the players for the month. You have the captain, Laura Volvervaart. You have Suné Luus, and then Indian opener, Shafali Verma. So these are the nominees for Player of the Month for December. And there hasn't been much international cricket for women's cricket recently. So I would guess this is mainly really dependent on the World Cup per se. And if that is the case, I think Suné did well to get her name there. Shafali, I think her innings in that final were great. But if you're talking about consistency, I think it's easy. I think Laura is going to win this. I think Laura wins the Player of the Month for December. I don't know if she wins it for January, but she was likely to get an award first thing in the year for her efforts last year. Laura had a fantastic year, I think, especially in ODI cricket. And I think right now she has 12 or 11 centuries. And last year she got 6, which is the same number as Tasman Brits. 2 of them, she got them in the semi-final and got 1 in the final. So she knows how to be a clutch player. She knows how to handle pressure. And the South African team will obviously this year be preparing for the World Cup, the T20 World Cup. And if the T20 World Cup was in February, like the men's T20 World Cup, I guess we know one player that's on form, and that's Nadine de Klerk. Even Suné, I just needed to say something specific on her, is that Suné has taken her domestic form, because Suné has been good the whole of like 2025. In domestic cricket, she was scoring hundreds, literally hundreds. I think she got the domestic player of the year in terms of one-day cricket. Went into the Proteas team, did well in the World Cup, I would say. She was okay. She did well. And here's another thing. She wasn't batting at number 3. And now she's entrusted to bat at number 3. So she wasn't batting where she normally bats. And she did a good job for the Proteas, including for the Titans this season as well. In the one match that she's played for the Titans this season, she's delivered. And I know for the ICC, your domestic form does not matter. It's about your international cricket. Either way, Suné is on form. So I think she will make the team in terms of T20 cricket because, again, she's been changing how she plays. But that's more evident in domestic cricket more than the Proteas. So hopefully in the series against Pakistan, that's coming up very soon, we see Usune with a higher batting strike rate. But we'll see how that goes. So, yeah, it's going to be a good year for the Proteas. And the SA under-19, the girls are currently playing against Ilanduku Zimbabwe. It's a T20 series. The World Cup will be next year. It's an interesting squad, but I'm not going to talk about that squad or that team in this specific show. I will literally do like a nice review of it on the next show, because it's still on and only one match has played so far at the time of the recording. Even that team, there's no surprises really. Karabo Meso is there. Mia Lalo is there. From Poland, there's Melissa van der Merwe. The team is captained by Mieke van Voorst. And then you have Ashley van Wyk, who was part of the previous World Cup in that team. One of my favorite players didn't play the first match, which is Jaylee Philander. While the girls are playing, the gents are also playing, the SA Under-19. They recently concluded a series against India. Now, this is what I actually wanted to speak about as we transcend to this part of the series. I'm worried about the SA Under-19 team, and I'm talking about the gents. They have good players, but we have not been competitive against India, and we were not competitive against Bangladesh previously. And the World Cup is literally around the corner. South Africa plays their first match on the 16th of January. I think the first match is played, it kicks off on the 15th, will be a Thursday. South Africa has Afghanistan, it has West Indies, and it has Tanzania. This is Tanzania's first Under-19 World Cup. So kudos for Tanzania, kudos for African cricket. But that's also interesting because these teams are always changing. Because not so long ago, we had Uganda. Not so long ago, we had Nigeria. And now it's Tanzania. Basically, there's no consistency amongst the African countries. You want consistency, especially in a sport like cricket. so that you can see there will be growth per se. But let's hope Tanzania takes the step and they will qualify for the next World Cup as well. Now, let me get into the World Cup. It's per se. I'm worried because South Africa has struggled against strong Asian sides. Now, previously in other World Cups, South Africa struggled against Afghanistan. So it worries me in the sense of, will South Africa be able to top the group, to be reach even the Super Six? Because there's also West Indies. If we lose both of those matches, we are technically out. We'll just be playing for the plate section. Now, can we beat the West Indies? Yes. Does the West Indies have a good team? Yeah, it depends who you ask. But should South Africa beat West Indies? I think so. We should. But there is one player there who I liked him from the previous World Cup. He's played for the West Indies a few times, and that's Joel Andrew. Wicketkeeper batter, can be destructive. He was destructive in the last World Cup. I stand to be corrected, but he was either the highest run scorer or one of the highest run scorers in the previous World Cup. So, yes, hence I am worried about South Africa, because against India, we lost all three of those matches recently in the series. And two of those matches, India scored 300. In the one, South Africa scored 245, I think, in that second match. And India won that match, though. They scored, I think, 145, but they won it via DLS. And two of those matches actually were rained out as well. So it worries me that even when it does rain or the match is shortened, South Africa does not have a strategy to how do we combat that. So hopefully in their talks, they will find some solutions, plug in those holes, and by the time they play their first match, and the team will be ready. But on top of that, another worrying factor within the bowling team was that in the first match, we were able to make early inroads. Issue is that in the middle overs, India put on, I think, a partnership of like 130 something. And then after that partnership, it was a 50 something partnership. But we were not able to capitalize on our good start to make sure that, hey, let's finish India off. Instead, in the middle overs, India took over. So it's either our spinners were not doing the job or strategies, whatever it is. In the third match, India batted first again. We struggled to get wickets from the start, literally from the start. The Indian openers had South African fielders and batters on another level. So, and that partnership was like 200 and something. So, SA19 coach, basically, what I'm trying to say is that he has his work cut out. Recently, he did say he's happy with the team. He's happy with the guys' progress. The guys are putting in the work. So we'll see, because at the end of the day, series before the World Cup don't really mean much, but they're good for confidence. But maybe in the World Cup and the 19 World Cup, the team will do much better. You want the guys to do well, but at the end of the day, I think it's hard to judge these young men too much, because, again, under 19 World Cup is a development World Cup. So we want to win. We want to do well. But if we don't, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You cannot crucify them. We should not be calling kids chokers. I hopefully people who like that term, that doesn't actually happen. But yeah, World Cup will be in Namibia, that's Zimbabwe. So it's an African World Cup. The last time this World Cup was in Africa, South Africa reached the finals, and that was the last one. So hopefully this time around, the team does well. At least we reach the Super Six. We have players like JJ Person, Bayanda Majola. Who else? Who else? Jason Rolls, Yurik van Skalkwyk, the captain. So hopefully the team will do better than they've been playing against Bangladesh before, and how do better and how they played against India. We see that fight that the coach has said they have, the resilience. So moving away from the under 19s, and we move to the SA20. Yeah, ne? So the defending champions, I don't know what season they're having. Thus far, first 6 matches that they played, no, let's say 5 matches that they played, they lost 4 of those, and then one was a rain out. So they at least had 2 points. Their 6th match, they won against JSK in a shortened match, 12-over match. And it was great. It was a great moment in Newlands for those that were there. It was raining and people stayed on. Yeah. But the season has been interesting for them in a sense. At the auction, they kept most of their side. By the time they went to the auction, they actually had the least amount of funds because they had kept specific players and they had bought Nicholas Puran as well. And even at the auction, they went in there and bought their players that they had the previous season. They bought back Rassi. They brought back Reza Hendricks. They brought back Dane Pete. And then they've added players like Udwan Pretorius. They also bought Shamsi as their second spinner. But Shamsi decided, nah, I'm not going to play this tournament and I am not going to play second fiddle to Rashid Khan. Because, let's be honest, if you have Rashid Khan and you have Shamsi, chances are MI Cape Town is going to play Rashid Khan. So Shamsi decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. He got out of the tournament and claimed he had personal reasons why he didn't want to be part of the tournament itself. And he went to go play in that tournament in the UAE. And then from the UAE, now he's currently in the Big Bash. And CSA had a problem with that. So they took each other to court and Shamsi won. Shamsi won. That's another story for another day. But CSA has to pay his legal fees. I don't know if Shamsi will play again in the SA20. I hope this whole drama does not actually hinder him playing in the tournament, because to be honest, Shamsi is entertainment, his box office, and his drama. So he's done his part for this season in the SA20. He took SA20 to court. CSA to court and won. And guess what? We all knew about this. It's also about SA20. So Shamsi has done his part. But anyways, I wasn't talking about Shamsi. We were talking about MI Cape Town. MI Cape Town struggles have literally been about everything. It has been the batting. It has been the bowling. Reason being the bowling is that MI Cape Town relies heavily on Trent Bolt, KG Rabata, and Rashid Khan. And then you'll have your George Linda chipping in, and you'll have Orlando Copen Bosch chipping in, and any other player would be Tristan Stubbs or Dwayne Pretorius or whoever else. But the issue is that Trent Bolt has not been getting wickets, especially in the power play. So the opposition batters tend to be comfortable, I would say. And by the time Rashid Khan comes in, the batters are really comfortable, because you would see even the young batters are actually coming after Rashid Khan. First 3 matches, Rashid Khan didn't get a single wicket, but since then, he went to Paarl and he got his first wicket. And his first wicket was actually Asa Tribe. It's tend to be corrected, but I think his first wicket was Asa Tribe. And last season, same thing happened. Interesting enough, went to Paarl, got a wicket. I think his first wicket was Asa Tribe. And last season, his first three matches, he didn't get a wicket. He went to Paarl, and guess what happened? He started getting a wicket, and he finished the tournament as one of the top 7 wicket takers. So I think he may still finish in that top 7 um, wicket takers. But again, I would say the issue is that the 3 bowlers have not really been threatening or has not been scaring the opposition enough. And now the main reason is Trent Bolt. And again, even with Bolt, man, he's been unlucky. I remember the first match, DSG, there was Devon Conway. He was beating Conway's bat, I don't know how many times, including a neck. But Conway survived, and DSG would go on and win that match. So he's been unlucky. And then as for the batting, now I spoke about South Africa, the fact that their T20 squad was released. I think it was released on the 2nd of January. And everyone expected Ryan Rickleton to make the team, especially after in the first match, Ryan Rickleton scored a century. He scored 113 against Durban Super Giants in Cape Town, and in the process, he scored 11 sixes in that match. So this was a player in form. And since then, Ryan Rickleton has not been his best, especially after the Proteas team was announced for the World Cup. He hasn't scored much. So that has not been great for MI Cape Town. Rassie van Dusen, it's not the Rassie that we know. It's not the Rassie that we know. He's just chipping in there and there and there. He hasn't actually played in match-winning innings. And then Nicholas Pooran. The thing about Nicky P, at the press conference when the captains were there, MI Cape Town was represented by KG. And one of the journalists asked KG, so with Brevis not there, do you think that is a loss? And KG laughed when he responded, and he says, no, because we have Nicky P. So now basically Nicky P had to literally, he was the man to replace, take that spot, take those runs that Brevis had for them for last season. And what happened? Nicky P hasn't been consistent this season. You can see he's on form. He's literally on form because in the second match, I think he got 26 runs in 6 balls. But the thing about Nicholas Pooran, what he did was, I think he got a 6, he got a 4, and he wanted to go for another big score. And he actually got out of, like, in that sense. So you'd wish that after maybe getting 3 boundaries in a row, you would wish that maybe he scores a 1. He doesn't want to. But modern day cricket is, if you feel it, hit it. If you feel you're in the zone, hit it, and you'll see what happens. Because at the end of the day, had Nicholas Pooran in that match, it was against Pretoria Capitals, actually. Yes, it was against Pretoria Capitals. In that match, had Nicholas Pooran not gotten out at that point, he would have either gotten a 6 or a 4, and we'll be speaking something different. And chances are MI might have won that match. Because again, it took an incredible innings from Brevis and Rutherford from the West Indies, which was an incredible knock from both of them, especially the Guyanese player. But now with the MI, Nicholas Pooran in a press conference, he did say, I know, man, one of the reasons why they haven't done so well, partially because of his fault as well. He hasn't been scoring those runs. And this was after they actually finally won a match. And in that match, Nicholas Paarl was the player of the match. He scored 44 runs or something like that in no time. So he finally produced the innings that MI needed. And yeah, I do not know if MI will make it to the playoffs, but Coben Bosch did mention that the only mission that they have is to reach the playoffs. And so playoffs is just position number 4. Out of 6 teams, getting to the 4th position is not that hard, but it is hard when you have lost at least 4 matches. So now they have to literally win almost all of their remaining matches, and they only have one more match at home. And then one team, when I was here and I was reviewing the SA20, I said I didn't give them a chance. And that's Paarl Royals. And Paarl Royals is so me. People who sit on this side and do podcasts or do analysis, cricket is not played in that way. In this sense, Paarl Royals right now are number 3 on the log. They lost their first match, and I was like, yeah, I had said it. Paarl Royals should have bought better. The second match, Paarl Royals wins by 1 run. Thriller against a team that had beaten them. Literally. No. Sunrise didn't beat Paarl Royals. They didn't beat them. They embarrassed them. They literally embarrassed them. But second match come around, Paarl Royals won. And I'll get why they won. Like, they're the main people that made them win. We'll get there. Second match, it's a derby at home for Paarl. They win it. Following match, it's still a derby. And guess what? They do a double on MI Cape Town. And this time around, they embarrass MI Cape Town at home. So since then, Paarl Royals have been on an upward trajectory in terms of their campaign. Well, their match after that, unfortunately, it was rained out. They were supposed to play against Joburg Super Kings, and that was rained out. So since losing their first match, Paarl Royals haven't lost any match at the time of recording, because today is Saturday and they're actually playing at home. Either way, Paarl Royals will make the playoffs, and I did not think they will make the playoffs. And the reason they will make the playoffs is they bought Bartman, and they got Bartman from the Sunrisers. And Bartman right now, he's the leading wicket taker in the tournament. And in the Sunrisers, he used to be amongst the leading wicket takers in the tournament. So Bartman, at this point of recording, he has 11 wickets. He sadly missed out on the T20 side for South Africa for the World Cup. I do not know how. We'll discuss that at another time, because it does not make sense. I do feel like Bartman should have been part of the team. Yeah. And then a young player. So, so the player that I would say replaced Bartman in the South African team for the T20 World Cup is Kwena Mapaka. And we all know Kwena Mapaka is the future. But Kwena Mapaka was at Paarl Royals last season. And Paarl Royals decided, they're not going to keep Kwena. And Kwena was bought by Durban Super Giants. And he's done okay. But what Paarl Royals did, they bought Ngobani Mukwena. Ngobani Mukwena was part of the SA Under-19 team that played at the World Cup last year? 2 years ago. And guess what? Ngobani has had a successful campaign. He had a terrible first match. But since then, he's done well. Ngobani is one of the leading wicket takers in the tournament. And he's taken I think he has 8 wickets now. I stand to be corrected. I think he has 8 wickets. So what now with Paarl Royals? I think, and then they played their first 2 matches without a specific player. But once he was available to play, he made an immediate impact. And I'm speaking about Sikandar Raza, the Zimbabwe captain. So Sikandar Raza, once he was introduced by Paarl Royals, he won them the first match in Paarl and then won them the second match in Newlands against the same opposition. And then when they went to play against Joburg Super Kings, which sadly that match did not finish, but the first ball that he bowled to Faf du Plessis, he bowled him. He bowled Faf, first ball. Boop. So he has been amazing for them. He has been amazing for them. He's gotten 7 wickets in the process. So you would say now it's 8 with Faf's wicket. So yeah, man. Sikandar has been a good buy. And another thing about Sikandar as well, he contributes with the bat as well. But the killer for me when it comes to Paarl Royals, I wouldn't even say it's David Miller, because David Miller did step up for the team, and he's the reason why they actually won that match against Sunrisers at St. George's at Quebec. It has been Luandre, Pretorius, and Asa Tribe. Those two have been great. And another young batter as well that I need to give props to, Keegan Lion Chart. He played really well in Quebec in that first match, because that partnership with David Miller was the reason why they were able to get to the finish line. So Sunrisers have been great. One team that I wanted to touch upon is former champions, Sunrisers. The only thing we're going to get to when it comes to Sunrisers is their bowling. Their team, like, they have a way of getting a really good bowling lineup. Previously, they had Daniel Borrell. They have Sisanda Makala. They've had Landuk. I spoke about Bartman. They've had Roelof van der Merwe as well as a spinner. This season, they have Adam Milner. They've added him. They have added Andrik Nortje. Those two, with Landuk, Marco Janssen, have caused havoc for the opposition. Currently, at the time of this recording, again, I'm going to have to say that Sunrisers were at the top of the table. And one of the main reasons as well is because of the batting. Orlando's has been great. Jordan Herman has been great. Probably should have made the World Cup team, maybe not. But Quinton de Klerk, who made the World Cup team, is on form. Quinton has been on form, including behind the stumps, so chances are he'll be South Africa's number 1 behind the stumps. And another player that has been great for them, Shem, is Johnny Pesto. He may not be part of the England team, but, he's on form. So those 3 batters have been great for Ilanduk, for the Sunrisers. The worrisome for the Sunrisers, I would say, is their captain, Tristan Stubbs. Tristan Stubbs didn't make the World Cup team, unfortunately. And the main reason is his form. And even in the tournament, he's yet to click, for Sunrisers. But he hasn't had to click because the 3 batters have done the job for them. Most of the time, Lewis Gregory has done the job. The bowlers have done the job. But Sunrisers need their captain to step up at some point, I think. Not I think, he has to step up. But yeah, man, we're at the halfway stage of the SA20. We'll talk more on the SA20. I want to get someone to speak about SA20 with, so that we can talk about everything that has happened. But there's so much that has happened, be it the catches, the drop catches, the beautiful wickets, even the wickets that don't actually become wickets, where a ball is hit, like this ball does hit the stumps, but the stumps don't fall. So those have been interesting as well, sadly for Quena. And the returns of Nandre Berger and Gerald Coetzee as well, coming from injury. So yeah, man, a lot has happened, including the West Indies guys. The West Indies guys, a lot of them, they're in that Pretoria Capitals team. You have Andre Russell in that team. You have Rustin Chase, Shea Hope, who recently broke the record of being the highest run scorer now in the SA20. Lungisani Ngidi getting a hat trick. So a lot has happened in the SA20, but we'll talk about that in the next show, or it will have to be like literally its own standalone. But either way, thank you very much for listening to Leading Edge with Saint and Rowney Podcast Studios. Keep supporting us. Happy New Year. We're out. Thanks for tuning in to the Leading Edge with Saint, the Pulse of Cricket podcast, proudly produced by Rowney Podcast Studio in partnership to bring you the stories and the voices of cricket. Until next time, stay on the leading edge of the game.